Alright, today we've got a Graco 390 that the customer is telling me has stopped running. The machine was running fine, then it just faded out and stopped. Could be several issues, from a motor problem to pressure control issue, a fuse, or brushes, things of that nature. So we're going to take it apart today and see if we can find out what the problem is. Before we get started, we're going to talk about safety. We are working with an electrical machine. Make sure it's unplugged while you're using it, repairing it. Make sure you wear safety glasses so you can protect your eyes. If you don't have a set of eyes, it's going to be very difficult to fix your machine. With all that being said, if you got any questions, hit the comment section down at the bottom. If you like the video here, please hit subscribe and like. Check the ads out. They always help me out. Alright, with all that said, we're going to go ahead and take this apart. Right up in the top here, turn it this way, you got two screws here and here that you remove these two screws and then the housing will come off. But if you could look, you can see the area inside is broken, so the screws actually aren't holding it on too well. You can just grab it and pull it right off. Nothing like taking care of your equipment that makes you money. Alright, we're going to pull the camera up here, and right here is the fuse. And I don't know if you can see all of this black stuff that you see. That's white, but that's the paint, but you can see the black on top of it. And come over here, this tells me right here that there's a carbon issue. Carbon comes from the brushes. These are the brushes. We're going to go ahead and check the fuse just to make sure that it's not something simple. Clean it off. Fuse is good. I'm not sure if you can see that the fuse is good, but the fuse is good, so we're going to put it back in so you don't lose it or damage it. So I'm leaning towards an issue with the brushes, just mainly because of the amount of carbon dust that we have here. So to get to the brushes, this right here and this right here would be access to your brushes. So we're going to go ahead and pull that off and show you what it looks like on the inside. And it's fairly easy to remove. Just take a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and just stick it under the cap and pop it right off. When you take it off, you'll note there's a tab here. On the other side, there's two tabs. The two tabs face the front of the machine so that the wire can lay in between the two tabs here. Single tab, if it's at the front, then it hits the wire and the cap will not lay down to hold the brush into place. We're going to hold on to that. We'll pull the brush out. Yeah, so we can already see right here there's an issue with this brush. This is you got a spring here and a piece of copper wire. That's the actual brush. That should be about so long when it's new. So this brush is definitely bad. The spring pushes down on it to make contact with the armature. And if it's not making good contact, you're not getting current to the motor to power it. So now we're going to check the black wire here. Pull the cap off just like we did the other side, and we pull it out, and we can see there's actually no brush or spring left on this side. So there's definitely an issue here with the brushes. That's pretty evident. Now, Graco machines come with a lifetime warranty on the motor. To the original purchaser, the purchaser must have the receipt, and it has to be done by a certified or an approved repair shop for Graco. Same thing with Titan. If you are not the original purchaser or you don't have the receipt, it's going to be hard to get anything done. So normal circumstances, first time purchaser, a motor will be replaced at no charge to you, with the exception of poor maintenance. Now, if the brushes look like this on both, possibilities there that Graco would cover this under warranty. Worn brushes causing the motor to get damaged will not be covered under warranty. So keep that in mind. Brushes run about 30 bucks. It's fairly cheap and easy to replace them. It's something I would recommend doing every couple years or so, just to keep you safe when it comes to the warranty. If you have a warranty on the machine and you were the first purchaser. If you're not the first purchaser, it don't matter. So what I'm going to do now, because this one is completely gone, I want to look at the armature on the motor to make sure that the motor is salvageable. If you short out across the armature, then it's pretty much going to do you no good to replace it, the brushes on it, because the motor is going to be bad. So we're going to remove these two nuts here. I believe they're 7/16. And these yellow wires here, this is for your thermistor. This is what tells the machine what the temperature of the motor is to keep it from overheating, so don't damage those. We'll move them out of the way. We'll pull the nut off. Pull this nut off. Now I went ahead, there's a fan actually sits here as well, fan blade. I went ahead and pulled that off so you can get a better sight of what we've got here. This is kind of blocking up everything. But there's an E-clip that it slides on like so. There's an E-clip here. You pop the E-clip off, you pry this off, and you're done. So I've got the nuts off. Now there's a bracket that holds the power switch and supports the board. So move the board out of the way. It'll flex a little bit. Just be careful so you don't break the board. Pull this right off. Once you've got that off, you're going to remove the back cover to the motor. You pull it off. Be careful because you could pull the whole motor loose from the housing, which isn't a big deal. You can put it right back in, but just something you want to be aware of. Alright, this collar should be inside of here, and it's all the way up inside of the motor. And also, get a look on the inside here. This is the armature area here. This shouldn't look like that. This is nice and black and carbony and corroded and all of the good stuff that you don't want. I'm going to show you here real quick what it should look like. Clean it off real quick. Alright, you can see how shiny and coppery it looks now. That's the way the armature should look. So what we're going to do, it's kind of hard to tell if this is going to be salvageable. So I've got a used set of brushes here that I can actually put in this machine and determine whether or not we can salvage the machine. The motor's going to be good or not. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this out, just like so, and I'm going to clean all of the armature here, make it nice and shiny. Once I'm done, I'm going to blow it all off so that there's no residue of corrosion in here, and we'll give it a shot with a set of brushes and see if that fixes our issue here. If not, then we're looking at purchasing a new motor, because the customer did not buy this new. This is not going to be covered under warranty. We'll be back shortly. Alright, we've got the armature cleaned up. Let's take a look at it. Nice and copper color, clean. And I went ahead and put the brushes on. It's fairly simple. We'll go through that real quick here. You're just going to cut your old brush off. Try to keep as much of your old wire as you can. Your new brushes will come. You'll strip the ends of both. Put them in a butt joint fitting. Crimp them down really good and tight on both. Okay. Now once you've got those done, you're going to take your motor cover, and if you'll look, there's a tab on this side. There's no tab anywhere else around. that tab goes in this notch on the side of the motor. That ensures that you put this on correctly. Okay? Make sure all your wires are out of the way. You'll just slide it right on. Slide it right into the notch. Make sure your motor and everything's pushed forward far. Once you've got that in place, take your board bracket and you'll slide that on. You'll move your board out of the way slightly just to make sure that we don't damage the board. And then you'll slide your bracket over top of your motor mounts here. Once you've got that in place, take your 7/16 socket with your nuts. You'll slide those on, tighten them up slightly. Before you go too far with it, take your thermistor. You'll feed it through the hole on the side over here, in between this bracket and the motor cover you just put on. You'll look, there's two rails on either side of your thermistor, and in the area where your thermistor goes is right above the nut here, to the right of the nut, and there's grooves for that to slide right into. Of course, if you got big fingers, the big fingers don't want to fit inside the hole here. So you're going to push the thermistor up inside of the groove there. If your fingers are too big, get you a set of needle nose and fit it right up inside the hole there. Alright, now we've got the thermistor in place. We're going to tighten up the nuts. You don't need to go crazy with this. You don't need to put the gorilla hand on it. You'll know if it's too tight when you turn it on and nothing wants to rotate. Alright, now we're going to take our brushes and we're going to feed our brushes back into the same place they were. Red at the top, black at the bottom. Slide the brush down in place. Push the spring down inside of the hole. Make sure everything goes in. Take your and it will pop right into place sometimes. When your fingers are kind of big, they get in the way. We'll slide the black wire brush in place, double tabs to the front of the machine to fit around the wires. Pull the thermistor wires out of the way. Grab some zip ties. So we want to make sure our wires stay out of the way. Once you put this together, you're going to feed it down and around your motor to hold your wires out of the way. You don't want them getting caught up in the fan while it's being used and short this thing out. Now this motor, even though you're plugging it into 110 volts, this motor is a 12 volt DC, 120 volt DC motor. And what that means is, even though you're plugging it into AC current, you are using a rectifier on the board to change it from alternating current to direct current. What that gives you is a more powerful motor that lasts much longer than an AC motor, which is why Graco and Titan both put lifetime warranties on these motors, is because DC motors just last much, much longer. Alright, so we've got all of that back on. We're going to take our fan blade. We're going to locate the correct position. We'll push this on. We'll take our E-clip. We'll slide it into position. Back onto the shaft of the motor, and then turn it back off. We're going to give it a test run real quick and make sure everything's running, that it's not smoking or anything like that. So we got it off, we turned the pressure all the way down, so when we turn it on, it don't instantly start running. Turn the machine on, turn the pressure up till it starts to run. No smoking, no grinding, none of that, so apparently everything's good to go. We're going to put the motor cover back on. Since the screws are broken, we won't worry about that. Now we're going to hook up a hose, and we're going to pressure test it, make sure there's no other issues with it before it leaves the shop.